Make it work. Make it work all the time, especially in healthcare technology and device technology. Although I think in the healthcare field, we tend to care more about how products really need to work and work well. But if you think about this particular 50-plus segment, they grew up with emerging technologies, the 80s and 90s, where it really wasn't good stuff. The technology back then was not really well designed. It was all new. It was frustrating. How many times we talked to somebody who used to try and figure out how to program their VCR and never could? I mean, there's this skepticism about technology, and you're going to be faced with that if you're going to present them with devices and technology that, whether it's within healthcare or whether it's in consumer-type products, consumer products, it's really important that it works and it's simple to use because, again, they will virally propagate their experiences with that technology. We talked a lot about health over the last several hours, and I won't really belabor the points, but from my standpoint, from what I see in the work that we do with UCLA and with MIT and other types of institutions and other private organizations, that this whole concept of navigating everyday healthcare tasks and issues is critical. And really the goal needs to be around efficacy and it needs to be around reduction of cost. So it's absolutely important that whatever we do, that we look at simple applications, whether it's through telemedicine or medication reminders, new interfaces that self-assess vitals, portable personal health data, and privacy management, which we all talked about. It's really just, if there's anything I can have you take away, is make these applications really simple and really simple to use. I won't talk too much about really the obvious points that make it fun and make it community-oriented. Let people connect each other up with their other information. What I love about the Nike and the iPod or the iTunes interface, where you can have a chip in your shoe and you can track all the information in terms of how you're exercising on your iTouch or your iPhone. It's really cool stuff. You should be able to share that with others and compete with them around how far you actually really did charge. So those are great technologies, and consumers in this segment really want to be competitive in that way. You need to connect them with others and help them do that. And one point that hasn't been made all day, which I always have to make because we are at AARP and we're all about giving back to the community, is that boomers do want to give back to their community and figure out ways to do that. Figure out ways to weave in how they can give back to their community in your products and services. And sometimes that's a little bit of a stretch, but we found that the more and more we think about it, especially with the new administration, giving back to your community is going to be a big part of their lives. So AARP does more than just sell products and services. We've talked a little bit about advocacy, and we've talked a little bit about the things that we do in terms of our own, and in terms of serving our own members. The other thing that we do that I get involved in is sitting down with organizations and kind of pushing them to get involved in thinking about this segment and serving this segment in unique ways. So from livable communities to healthcare technology and accessibility, we work with institutions such as MIT, as I mentioned before. On the livable community side, we work with an organization called the MIT Age Lab, where they have designed automobiles, for instance, that really take into account some of the issues that people who are aging have with driver safety, whether it's eyesight or mobility. Some of those things really need to be looked at. So designing better automobiles to enable people to get around. I'm facing that with my mother. She's been a fantastic driver up until this point in time, and so now she is starting to struggle, which is kind of driving around the California highways. And she lives down in Orange County. She's afraid to drive up in Los Angeles for the very fear of something happening. So we work with the Age Lab, and we work with laboratories and research organizations to help do that. On the healthcare technology side, we also work with other organizations such as another MIT affiliate in the Media Lab, and they have an organization called New Media Medicine. And the New Media Medicine group is developing new products and services that are really future-facing. And I'll show you one that's actually more near-term around medication reminders and such. And then accessibility. You saw, if you were here earlier in the morning, Microsoft and HP talked a lot about making technology easier to use and accessible to more people so that they can interface with technology and customize the technology to their needs. AARP also tends to AARP also tends to work with other organizations in terms of how we make technology accessible to people who may not be able to afford it. So we've partnered up with organizations like One Laptop Per Child, if you haven't heard of them. It's the very low cost, what they used to call the $100, I think it's more like a $200 laptop that is trying to be deployed around the world. Nicholas Negroponte's organization has really spurred thinking from Intel and other product manufacturers to develop really cheap technology that gives people access to the internet and is very affordable and easy to use.